and I am recording. So good morning, everyone. I am glad you're here for this, our discussion about Malchut, Shekhinah, the last of the Sifrot that we're discussing during the counting of the Omer. This is the 7th week, 7 weeks since Pesach. Hard to believe. So Malchut, Shekhinah, is translated as the indwelling presence, nobility. It's also looked upon as the base of the tree of life. So you may recall that as we've been talking about these Sifrot, we've noticed that it's the shape of a tree. And this is at the base of that tree. So it's the place where we can receive the fruits of the past 6 weeks of our spiritual growth. And the base of a tree is also the place where the roots and the trunk connect. So strong, deep roots keep the tree alive and upright, just as our strong, deep roots sustain us. In the Zohar, which I have not read, I don't want to give that false impression. I read that in the Zohar, this Sifra is referred to as the mouth of God, whereby everything is accepted. So it's like a sacred container. And with this sacred container, the more we receive, the more we have to give. And the more we give, the more space we have in our hearts to receive. So there's this wonderful circular motion of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. There's also, with this week, the parallel to Shabbat. This is the 7th week. Shabbat is the 7th day. And Shabbat is a day of rest and contemplation. And this week is a week where we can really reflect on the weeks that have passed and enjoy that spiritual connection to what we've been discussing for the past 6 weeks. And I'm going to return to that theme in a little bit. There's also this amazing relationship to the first chakra. So those of you who are familiar with the chakra system, this is an energy system throughout our bodies. And the first chakra is about tribal connection and family connection and sacred truth. And Carolyn Meese, in her book, The Anatomy of the Spirit, talks about the interrelationship of the chakra system, which is from the Hindu tradition, the Sifrot, which is from the Jewish tradition, and the sacraments, which is from the Catholic tradition. And it's really fascinating how these interplay with each other. And she says that the Sifra of Shekhinah, whose name means divine presence, is the divine consciousness that creates and protects the mystical community of Israel. In a more symbolic and universal perspective, the divine consciousness creates and protects all tribes of the human race. Shekhinah is also the doorway to the divine. She goes on and quotes the Zohar saying, "One who enters must enter through this gate." And then she continues, "This is a most appropriate description, as Shekhinah resonates to the first or tribal chakra in the human energy system. In order to ascend in spiritual truth, it suggests we must first honor our families and all human communities." So to me, it seems that this Sifra, Malchut Shekhinah, is really about accepting what is and recognizing our interconnection to everything. So that's the foundation, if you will, the basis for today's sit. So I invite you to take your seat. And as we take our seats, I really want to encourage you to sit in a regal position, calling upon our relationship in this Sifra to nobility. So we're sitting in a noble and regal position with our back straight, the crown of our heads lifting up to the heavens. And I would like us to sit in an open, accepting position. So I invite you to bring your shoulders up to your ears and back and down, rotating your arms externally, outward, so that you can then bring your elbows into your body and your hands palm up on your lap. So this position helps you stay broad across the chest. So your hands are in accepting position and your heart is open. And now let's take a couple of nice, deep, cleansing breaths at your own pace. And as we are sitting in our relaxed yet regal position, I want to spend a little bit of time thinking about all that we have put into our sacred container over the past 6 weeks. So the first week of the Omer, we looked at chesed, loving kindness or loving connection. And we considered care for ourselves and care for one another. This second week, we explored Gevura, translating that to justice or discipline or power or strength. And this was the counterpoint, counterbalance to chesed. And then to ferret during the third week, balance, beauty, harmony, the true integration of chesed and gevura, because we absolutely need both. Then we had the week of Netzach, endurance, fortitude, energetic response. And then week 5, we explored Hod, humility, keeping our ego in check, recognizing that our gifts and talents are God-given, leading us to a great deal of gratitude for what it is that we have. And then last week, the week of Yesod, bonding, foundation, we explored the need for firm footing as we move along in life. So now we sit with this very full container, knowing that we are part of the human family and that every person is part of us and we are part of everyone. So we'll sit in silence now until I ring the chime in about 10 minutes or so. as you are slowly and gently coming back to the room, I'm going to read a piece called Interbeing. And this is by Thich Nhat Hanh from Peace is Every Step. If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. Interbeing is a word that is not in the dictionary yet. But if we combine the prefix inter with the verb to be, we have a new verb, interbe. If we look into this sheet of paper even more deeply, we can see the sunshine in it. Without sunshine, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow without sunshine. And so we know that the sunshine is also in this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. And we see wheat. We know that the logger cannot exist without his daily bread. And therefore, the wheat that became his bread is also part of this paper. The logger's father and mother are in it too. When we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. Looking even more deeply, we can see ourselves in this sheet of paper too. This is not difficult to see because when we look at a sheet of paper, it is part of our perception. Your mind is in here, and mine too. So we can say that everything is in here with this sheet of paper. We cannot point out one thing that is not here. Time, space, the earth, the rain, the minerals in the soil, the sunshine, the cloud, the river, the heat. Everything coexists with this sheet of paper. That is why I think the word interbe should be in our dictionary. To be is to interbe. We cannot just be by ourselves alone. We have to interbe with every other thing. This sheet of paper is because everything else is. So with that, I will turn off the recording